Hey Grinder School, it's Damon here. I'm just bringing another video for my blog. I thought today I'd do a review of a hand history, and I'm going to be using Poker Ranger. Pocket Air did a video on this pretty recently. It's a really good tool. I was a bit skeptical when I heard about it, but it has really transformed, the way I review hands. So yeah, give it a go. Also, if it's a bit confusing, just check out Dan's video. He really does kind of explain it well, and he does it with one of his students, a lady called Deb. Okay, so I've loaded a hand here. At the moment, I don't know anything about this hand other than I saw the showdown and I lost quite a bit of money. Unfortunately, with Max, it's impossible to completely hide your whole cards. So somewhere up here is my holding. I'm not looking at it. I don't know what it is yet. I guess you probably looked at it. But yeah, just bear that in mind. I have spoken to the team that make this poker tracker, but there's nothing they can do about it at the moment. Okay, so into the hand review. So, well, I do a standard raise from the button, the 2.5 big blinds. At the moment, I've been at the table for two hands, so I've got absolutely no reads, which is never great. And it'd be hard to kind of assign a range to myself there. However, just knowing my own tendencies and what I'm like, when opening from the button, I suppose that I could, I could assign a rough estimation just knowing what I might basically. So I'll put in a range of about 15%. I'll expand it just to go with holdings that I know I'm likely to play. Yeah, I'd say maybe that's something like my button range. Perhaps I'd play ace nine. Yeah, queen ten. Sometime. Yeah. That's probably a good indicator of my range. Okay. Oh, sorry. So the big blind, who we know absolutely nothing about, min raises me. Right. So what would he min raise me with? Well, straight away we can put in quite a tightish raise. A tightish range. Would he raise me with the small pocket pairs? I don't know. Like I say, I've got no reads on him, so I'm just going to put a conservative kind of range in. I'm not going to go for twos and threes, maybe even fours and fives is too loose. But yeah, I mean, for the sake of this video, I'm going to go with that. King Jack, Queen Jack, would he raise me with those, or three bet me? Sorry. Would he do that? I'll put them in for now. Hopefully it'll become clear as we see more streets. Ace 10 offsuit. I think that's a bit loose. Yeah, I think that's possibly a more sensible range. So straight away, without even seeing a card, we can see that my equity is slightly behind. However, this is very range dependent, and I might be completely wrong, and I might be way ahead. I guess we'll just find out. I just flat, which is interesting. What does that mean? Well, what would I flat with in this case? I definitely flat with the pocket pairs up to maybe up to tens. I've got position in this hand. There's no reason for me to kind of overplay my hand at this stage, and if the flop comes and it's one that I don't like, I can get out for pretty cheap. I'm just thinking actually, with the price he's offering me, it's a min raise, so if we go back a step, I'm getting, what am I getting here? I have to call I have to call 25 cents into an 80 cents pot, so it's going to be 25 divided by just over $1. So I'm getting basically like I'm getting pretty good odds here. I'm getting, but yeah, as it says here, I need about 24% equity to call. So I can actually see my range remaining quite static in this case and not really changing too much just for a cheap call. So I think I'll leave it there. So, okay, so we get a rainbow flop, and I'm just going to enter that into the flop range. Pretty good in that there's not really a obvious flush draw at the moment. I mean, ace kings, it's not a great flop to see when you have been 3-bet. However, you know, depending on what my holding might be, it could be the best thing ever. I did flat it, which, you know, if I had a hand such as, let's say, like, I don't know, like queens or jacks or something, chances are, knowing that how I play, I would have re-raised with those. So I think that this ace king flop is likely to hit my range, just knowing what I'm like as a player. Okay, so sorry, again, I've entered the flop. I'm still behind slightly by about 10% or so, and I think this is just because my range is much wider at this point because I'm playing in position. The villain checks to me, which is interesting to note. He had the initiative in that he raised me and I simply called. So what do I think about this? What would a player check with on this flop? It's interesting, really, because you always have the doubt, the kind of insecurity that you're being slow played, and I guess this flop, you would expect to at least hit a raising range, but he's just checked. So what would he just check with? Well, he's got ace king offsuit. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is I think with a hand such as, a top pair is going to be a good kicker in this case. I think he's likely to bet ace jack offsuit. The same with these suited aces, just because he's not really in a great place at the moment. Sorry, say that wrongly. He is in a good place, but his hand is vulnerable. There's not a lot he can improve to in terms of getting the odds, so that a draw isn't very likely. A flush is a straight draw isn't very likely. He's really just looking at his top pair at the moment and hoping to maybe turn or river 2-pair, or a set maybe, if that's what he's got. King 10 suited. Again, I can see him betting with this, so I'm going to rule that out. King Jack suited, he'd have what? He would have to have he'd have to improve quite a lot to get any form of straight. It's middle pair. I think he'd stab with that. King Queen suited. What would he stab with this? Yeah, again, he'd have to have he'd have to have a backdoor straight, and it is only middle pair, so I do think he'd go with that. Queen Jack suited. Well, this is an interesting one. He's basically got a straight draw in that he's looking for the 10. I can see him checking this because at the moment he doesn't have a hand. Similarly with Queen 10 suited, I can see him checking this because he's looking at a gut shot. He's looking at a jack for a straight. Queen Jack offsuit for the same reason as Queen Jack suited. I can see him checking this, but I can't see him with King Jack offsuit. I could see him betting this. Ace Queen. What would he do with Ace Queen? He's got top pair. Yeah. I'm a bit confused about this one actually. I can see him. I could see him betting this. So do I leave this in? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think, what would he do? Okay, so he's raised. It's a min raise. The flop comes pretty high. If you had ace queen offsuit, what would you do? I think you'd bet, just because you really only sat there with your top pair at the moment, and as good as the top pair as it is, you're not going to want to let someone basically see cards for free, because he has no idea what I have. The fact that I just called simply implies I have a, this flop hits my range as well, but there's also a lot of other things that it kind of hits. I might just be playing a pocket pair, if you will, and you won't want me to see a turn for free just in case I get lucky. And yeah, I mean, I could see him checking aces and kings actually, as contrary as that sounds. I don't think he'd want to scare me off with such a strong holding, so I could see him checking those. Same with ace, king, queens. He'd have to bet just to know where he's at, and hopefully, he'd take me down here. This is a pretty scary flop for ace. For queens. Jacks, similar reason. Tens, would he? I think he'd bet the tens for the same reason discussed as queens and jacks. But for these pocket pairs, I think he would just, he'd just play the hand as he has. He'd just check them. So yeah, I'm happy for this as the villain's range at the moment, which actually puts me slightly ahead, which is a nice change of events. However, let's see what I do. So what do? I basically take the initiative here in position. It's a hand that I know nothing about my villain, nothing about the villain in. It's a very wet flop, especially for a min raise pre-flop. So I'm not going to be doing this with air. Sorry, I'll just close this a moment. I've bet 66 cents into $1.05. I'm not happy about my bet size though. I think maybe it should have been bigger. But what am I betting with? I'm never going to be betting with the lower pocket pairs against this flop, against someone that I don't really know about. Similarly for my pairs, really, from 7 to 9, I wouldn't be betting with these suited connectors because I'm floating in the water at the moment. Suited aces. Would I bet this board? Interesting question. I mean, I'd definitely bet ace 6 for obvious reasons. I'd have top pair and bottom pair. Ace 5. Would I? I could see myself betting the aces at the moment, pretty much any of them, just because I feel like his check showed a bit of weakness. I would have top pair, and I think possibly the villain didn't bet just because he's worried that high the aces, and hopefully I'd take the pot down, so it'd be more of an exploitive play really than kind of one that I'd want to take to showdown. So yeah, I could see myself betting them. Kings, would I bet these? Yeah, again, I think I would bet with the kings just because he's shown some weakness. Same with king queen absolute down to king. I think I bet basically with any high king and any high jack, so they can stay in. Jack 10, I've got nothing, so I would just check this back. Jacks, interesting one. My jack's in a very weak place at the moment, and it's only going to get worse, really. What would I do? I'm going to say I'd just check them. In the game, I might actually bet them, but at the moment, I think I should check them, and that's what I'm kind of working towards. So they could stay there. Queens, I definitely bet, so I'm taking them out. Aces and kings, yeah, I would bet these just because he's already checked, and I'd want to start building the pot. And I don't think my hand play so far represents these, which would mean it'd be a great surprise for him when when I flip a set. But yeah, that's how I'd handle those. Same with ace kings, really. I would definitely bet these for a bit of value. Ace queens, yeah, I'd bet those definitely. So I'm not going to put those in my own range. Ace jack suited and ace jack off. Yeah, I'd bet those. Oh, sorry, I'm going crazy. So these should be in. So yeah, They all stay in. Sorry. Oh yeah, bit of meltdown there. Could see myself. I could see myself. Yeah, no. I think that's probably my betting range at this stage. It's a bit loose, 17.5. Well, it's a bit wide, I should say. But I do have initiative, and I've got position, and my opponent's shown some weakness. So yeah, I'm happy with my bet here. And so I should be, if that's my range. I'm 62% against his 38% of the range that I've assigned. Bear in mind, this is really based on my hand reading, so I might be completely wrong. If we just take a look at the 2-player hits, you know, well, I'm just looking at this. I mean, my range, 68% of the time I've hit a pair on this board, against the villain's 54%. However, he is more likely to have 3 of a kind in 2-pair, which is never great, but that's just because his range does include a lot of ace kings, ace kings, which is, yeah, they're all on the board. In terms of draws, we're both really looking at a gut shot, but I'm much more likely in that he doesn't have any chance of this from his assigned range to have a backdoor straight. Now he calls, which is an interesting play. He's playing this quite passively. I mean, what would you call a bet into this flop with? Right, okay, let's start. I don't think he'd call with a 4 or 5s, so I can take them out. Similarly, he wouldn't really call with a 7s, 8s and 9s on this board. Queen Jack offsuit, would he call with a straight draw? Well, let's have a look at this. He needed 25, but we already knew that if we go back to here, he needed 28%. So let's just take a look. Where is it? It's, sorry, bear in mind I'm quite new to an Apple Mac, I'm not yet the best. So he's really just looking at 4 10s, so yeah, well, I'm not going to do the math, but 4 cards to come. He's got an equity of 8% there, if that's what he's drawing to. And he needs 28% to call. Would he, but the question is, would he make this technically minus EV play? Well, it's only minus EV if you ignore implied odds. And I think he could safely say that if a 10 does come, he's going to get a lot more money off me at this stage. So I could see him staying with the Queen Jacks. Queen 10 suited. Just thinking about this. I mean, I suppose for the same reason, that's a gut shot. This isn't a gut shot, but it's, you know, it may as well be because it's capped at the ace at the top of the straight, if you will. So I could see him calling with those. King Queen on this board. Would you call second pair at the high kicker on an ace? I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know anything about my opponent here, so I'm going to just play this quite conservatively and say that he or she wouldn't as well. But this would be quite an interesting one for someone to feed back to me on, because, you know, I might be completely off. Yeah, I might be completely wrong. Now the aces, the kings, and the ace kings. What would you do with these? Would you just call, or would you raise? I mean, you're obviously in a very strong place if you've got any of these. How many is it? There's 15 hand combinations. But would you? What am I gonna do here? Well, it's interesting. I mean, quite an obvious play would be to just call. You're slow playing, you've lost the initiative, you might expect me to kind of barrel again on the turn, just because I showed that I wasn't really afraid of this flop. Would he call with those? I'm going to leave them in. I don't think I would call with those, but I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to kind of be aware of different approaches, if you will. Okay, so that's changed our equities again. I'm now behind again, which is great, but I'll repeat, this is based on my perceived range of the villain. It is quite a tight range, so I might be giving him far too much credit, and this might not be, you know, completely accurate. So an 8 of diamonds comes, so I'll just enter that into the turn. it's not really changed much. You know, I'm not really, at this stage, I'm not really worried about a possible flush. It could be there with some of his like suited range, but if you know, if we take a look at his suiteds, he's got two suiteds there, and he's got 8 there, so it's 10. So it's 10 possible holdings of his 54 hands if you want his range combination. So that's, you know, that's just, what's that must be like 18% of his holdings or something. So not a big worry at the moment, and you know, he could get there on the flush, but he's not really played as a flush draw so far. He checks again, so I mean, this is quite interesting. Excuse me, just having a drink there. What would he check with on this flop? Sorry, on this turn? Now I'm going to say I don't think he'll be checking the aces, the kings, or the ace kings, just because he's got a very strong holding, and although I know nothing about him, I'm sure every poker player knows that when you have a good holding, you need to build the pot, because, you know, you only win as much as you put in, if you will, if you get that expression. So yeah, and for the same reason, I'm going to take sixes out, because yeah, you really need to start building the pot in this case. So it has just left all the straights in the flush draws now. So I'm expecting to be, yeah, I'm going to be way ahead. Be interesting to hear what you think about that range analysis. I might be completely off, and yeah, please give me some feedback on that one. So what do? I continue to bet. I'm not worried about a flush draw in this case. I'm obviously, you know, continuing to bet though on a flop like this when he called. Sorry, on a turn like this when he called the flop. I don't think I'm betting with air, so especially over 2 streets. So I'm going to take out these low suited aces. The fact that he called on the flop will make me slightly concerned at this stage. Again, I'm not going to be betting the 10s, the jacks, or, well, you know, I'm going to remove these suited cards just because I wouldn't continue to bet them. But then what I'm going to replace them with is the diamond holdings, because I would continue to bet if I had, you know, 2 suited cards and they were both diamonds in this case, especially with the flush draw now possible. Queen Jack, I'm not going to double barrel with a draw. King Jack, I think I'd just be wanting to check this down now. Same with King 10 and Queen 10 off. King Queen, yeah, I wouldn't be betting this just because his flop call kind of suggests a lot of aces, if you will. Queens, no, I wouldn't bet this. Kings and aces, I definitely would. I'd just be checking King Queen suited. I think I'd still be betting Ace Queen and Ace Jack suited regardless of whether they're suited. King Jack, no, I wouldn't be betting that, and it's not possible to have that suited because the King of Diamonds is there. Queen Jack, I would, yeah, I mean, I definitely would still be betting that suited, so I'll put that in. Ace 9, definitely not. Ace 10, would I bet Ace 10 on a flop like this? Sorry, a turn again? No, I wouldn't. Ace Jack, all the way up to aces, I would. Yeah, I think that's probably a good kind of estimation of my continuing range. So it's apparently I'm way ahead, which is great. If that is my range though, and I'm mainly betting for value over 2 streets, I don't like my bet size. You know, it appears that I am betting for value, so that should be bigger, in my opinion. And what does he do? He simply calls. So if I go back to his range, I've narrowed his range down quite a lot, so I've got no idea, I'm no idea which of these that he'd call with. It looks like his possible holding might be outside my allotted range. So I'm just going to leave them there for the moment and see how this turns out. And then a 5 comes. And this, I can't really see it changing anything. Yeah, I'm in a really interesting situation actually. I've not been here before on Poker Ranger. He can't have hit anything according to my allotted range, which means I must have, assigned, my range that I've assigned must be completely poor. But let's see how it goes. So he then basically bets pot. So I'm going to have to take this into consideration. He's not betting pot with any of these draws. What would you bet pot with on a river like this? Well, you're definitely going to be betting all your sets. Ace kings. 5, 6. I mean, his only real straight draw would be 7, 9. So where is that? 7, 9, 9, 7. But these should not be in his range from the way I've kind of like whittled his holding down. But I just can't see what else he will be betting the river big like this with. So now let's see what I do. I call. At the moment, I mean, what would I call this with? It's a huge bet. Obviously my sets, but I've not got an 8 or a 5. A6 would I call? Not a bet. No, I wouldn't. Not a bet that big. And I'd be worried that he'd slow played it and I'd just read it wrong. Obviously all my potential flush draws are to go. I wouldn't call ace jack suited. Ace queen suited. No, I shouldn't be calling with this. Same with ace jack off, ace queen off. I think I'd be silly to call with an ace queen off in this case. So I can only really see my holding being that, which still has me behind. So now I'm quite curious as to what both of us have. I guess it's going to show the villain first. This will be interesting. I'm going to go with, I don't know, if I was just to make a guess, and I'm not really sure what the hell he has here because this is such a strange one. I'm going to say it must be one of these top 15 cards, even though he's passively played them. I think it was on the turn when you'd think he'd want to build the pot, and he did have the kings, which is interesting. And I mean, what have I got now? Okay. Oh, man, I wish I'd like to think I had aces or ace king, or even 6s. But I know I'll lose this hand, so I don't think I do. And I've got ace queen off suited. Right, that is interesting. So I'm just going to go to the details just to speed this up. So firstly, my call with ace queen offsuit on the river is definitely too loose. I should give him more credit. I don't, and as you've seen, that kind of hurt me quite a lot. I lost 53 big blinds on that single call alone. Now let's see what the villain does in terms of the whole hand. Let's see, sorry, where am I? I'm going to be confused. So he opens from the big blind to 5 big blinds. So I should have been. Well, sorry, yeah. I'm sorry. Let me start again. I'm getting confused. So I open with a standard open from the button. He min raises me. So I'm going to take. I'm just going to get this up straight away. What is this? I've got no stats on him. I can't add a note yet. Oh, damn it. So he min raises with kings. I then bet around about 2/3 of pot into a into a flop where I've got top pair, good kicker. He simply calls it. He then checks the turn again, and this is quite interesting because at the moment he doesn't really know that I'm going to bet. He doesn't know that I'm going to bet again, so he's kind of potentially losing value on his kings. But then I suppose if he did just donk out there, it would be a bit too indicative of a strong holding, especially when I've just when I have the initiative. So I continue to bet again. It's quite a small bet, really, and he just calls, and then he kind of seizes the initiative big style on the river, which I can't really complain about the way my opponent played this hand. He played it well, so that I was basically continuing to put the money in. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm quite happy with my play really against his perceived range at the turn, but yeah, then his river hand where he just bets big with the kings, I should have folded with a top pair, kind of weakish kicker given the way that he's not left and there's a king on the board as well, and yeah, so it happens. Yeah, so that's that. That's that hand history done. I hope you liked it. I'm gonna try and stick this on the internet now. I know in my last video there were some comments about the kind of resolution and the sound quality being pretty bad, so I'm gonna do that to a higher quality and hopefully it'll be okay. Thanks for watching. I'd really appreciate some feedback on this video. Yeah, so have a good day.